guys, my name is Nori and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing our April wrap up. I cannot believe that April is over. This year is going by fast, and thank God, because we are in a mess. So in April I was doing my owls and I failed. It's okay, but I still managed to read 12 books, which I read books that were not for my owls. So if I would have stuck to my TBR, I would have probably finished it. But your girl is ultimately a mood reader, and there was just some books that I didn't feel like reading, and I failed my owls. But I managed to read quite a bit of books, and I really liked some of them, so I can't complain too much. If you did not know, the way that I do my wrap-ups is I'll give you all the stats first, like how many books I read, what genres, star ratings, all that stuff, and then I will go from book to book and I will show you everything that I've read. If you did not know, again, I leave my mangas and graphic novels out of this review because I have separate videos, and especially for the graphic novels, which I am planning a cool little series because we love graphic novels here. So I plan to review them individually as well. And there's another thing that I'm not going to fully review here because I don't feel like censoring my channel, and that is the 2 smutty reads that I read and I enjoyed. I have a specific video for those as well. I will briefly touch up on them, but I cannot talk about them. Not on this video, because then I would need to censor the age and all that stuff, and that's not what we are about. Not on this channel. So without further ado, here are the stats for the April wrap-up. So in the month of April, I read 12 books in total, which brings me up to 47 books in total the whole entire year. Your girl has been busy because I plan to read 150 books by the end of this year or more. But I set at 150, and that would be a new record for me. So I read 4 graphic novels, 5 regular novels, 2 Kindle Smuts, and 1 manga. My total page count for this month was 2,530 pages read, so that averages out to 84 pages a day. My longest book read was The 2 Lives of Lydia, Byrd, and my shortest book was Theirs for the Night, which I will post the pictures up here. So for my genres, it's going to be 1 manga, 4 graphic novels, 2 contemporaries, 2 fantasies, 2 erotic, and 1 thriller. Who is she? She read a thriller? Oh my god. So for my star ratings, I gave out 1 5 stars, 7 4 stars, and 3 3 stars, y'all. The 4 stars were super busy this entire month. These are all of the books that I read with the author's name and the star rating. Starting off with Blue Flag Volume 1 by Kaito, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. The 2 Lives of Lydia, Byrd by Josie Silvers, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. The Upside of Falling by Alex Light, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Eat and Love Yourself by Sweeney Boo, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I read volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Fence by PC Cast, and I gave all of these a 4 out of 5 stars. The Shadow Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Theirs for the Night by Katie Robert, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. A Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And finally, Grading Curves by Naima Simone, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Those were all of the books that I read in the month of April. Now, this is the part where I start to break down all of the books and I give like a short review and a synopsis, and if you are interested by the time I review the book, then go ahead and pick it up. So I will link all of the time links down below for the books that if you do want to see, if you want to continue watching this without speeding up or anything like that, it's cool. Go ahead and watch and be entertained. But if you want to know about one single book, then you can go ahead and fast forward. Now remember that I do my mangas and graphic novels separately from this video. I'm going to start doing my graphic novels separately because, again, there is a graphic novel community, and since I read a lot of graphic novels, I definitely want to be a part of that too. And plus my smut reads that I did for the Smut-a-thon, I read 2. I will not be talking about it in this video because I have a video planned in the future, aka maybe in like a week or 2. But we cannot talk about these books because that is 18 and up, and I don't want to get demonetized. So you're gonna have to wait for a separate video where I can put the age limit so we can talk about these books because they're so good. So without further ado, here are the books that I read for April. The first book that we are going to talk about, it is The Upside of Falling by Alex Light, and I give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I want to say it was like more of a 3.75, but we're gonna leave it as a 3.5. So this is a YA contemporary, and you guys know that I'm super iffy about YA contemporaries because they usually don't offer anything that new, and this one definitely, after you hear the synopsis, you're gonna be like, that sounds really familiar, but just continue. So this book has the fake dating tropes. If you are into the fake dating, I highly suggest that you pick this up because honestly, I thought where this book was going and it completely surprised me. At first I was having a little bit of trouble because I'm like, this is not offering absolutely anything new that I have ever read before. Ooh, there's a lot of cliches here. But as the story kept progressing, we got to know Becca and Brett, which are the 2 main characters, and we got to see them in a different light. I was not expecting all of that happened with all of these characters. So Becca and Brett. Now Becca is, you know, the quiet, nerdy girl who is definitely into these romance books, but she does not believe in love. She used to have a best friend, but for some reason, you know, the best friend became popular and they fell out. And the best friend, something happens in the class, and she pretty much calls Becca out for not knowing what love is because she's always has her nose stuck in a romance book. And here comes Brett walking and minding his own business, and then she decides to tell her ex-best friend off that she knows love because she is dating Brett, and the story unfolds from there for fake dating. Honestly, at first I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this story, and I pushed through and I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So overall, I did enjoy it, and if you really love YA contemporary, I suggest that you pick this up. The next book that we are going to be talking about, it is The 2 Lives of Lydia Byrd by Josie Silvers. Now I do have the book in my pink section. Now it's actually it's in my white section, but every time I hold the book up it changes the light, so all of the pictures will be on this video. And I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Now I thought I was going to love this book, but I set my expectations way too high and I expected something from this book that I definitely did not get. Now don't get me wrong, 3 stars is not a bad book, but it's definitely not one of my favorites, which is what I was expecting from this book. So this follows Lydia and Freddie, and they are the ideal couple. And one night, he was supposed to propose to her on her birthday, but on the way, he and his best friend get into a car crash. His best friend turns out fine, but he dies. And Lydia is devastated to have lost her soulmate, and she goes into this massive depression and in shock, and she is trying to deal with the hurt and the pain. But one day she goes to sleep, and when she wakes up, she figures out that there is something weird going on, because when she wakes up, she is next to Freddy. So she finds out that every time she goes to sleep, she visits an alternate universe where Freddy never died, and it follows her perspective from that alternate time and the time from now of her grieving. Now, it sounds super interesting, and I was like, oh snap, this is gonna get scandalous, but it wasn't scandalous at all. I know I might sound a little crazy, but this book was very quiet. It was definitely like a winter read. It was quiet and it was thoughtful, and she was grieving. Like, I really felt for her, but I definitely was not expecting this quiet, sincere book. I thought that this was gonna be like, she was gonna go crazy, and either she was gonna decide to stay or leave. Like, I thought this was gonna have some serious drama in here, and it didn't have it. And I thought that the perspectives got a little bit boring because, you know, there was not really much happening. So that's why I decided to give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. Now, I may be an unpopular opinion on this, because a lot of people on Goodreads really love this book, and they've either given it a 4 or a 5 stars. So hey, I might be in the unpopular opinion here, and you might like it. So if you do like the sound of that synopsis, please check this book out. Leave me alone. I set my expectations way too high with this. Alright, the next book that we are going to be talking about, it is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. Y'all, if you did not know, I really have been enjoying Trisha Levenseller's books. So obviously, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This is a standalone YA fantasy, almost tiptoes between the line of new adult and YA, and that is because of our protagonist, Alessandra, is a very ambitious female character, which is very refreshing to see in YA, because it's not like, oh, you know, I'm the baddest because I think I am. No, she's the baddest because she's the baddest, and she has proven herself. So Alessandra has this magnificent plan to do 3 things. 1 is woo the king, 2nd is marry him, 3rd is to kill him and take the throne and make herself an ultimate queen. Now, when she finally gets into the castle, she realizes that people are trying to assassinate the Shadow King, and she can't marry him and kill him if other people are trying to kill him as well. So she has to stop them or marry him before this gets out of hand. And when I tell you that Alessandra is a badass character, she really is. Plus, she's a very sex positive character, which is really nice. Again, Alessandra is a bad character in all of the good ways, and I had a great time with this. Again, this is a standalone fantasy novel, so if you love a fantasy and you don't want that commitment, like that Sarah J Maas commitment, this book is it, y'all. I really do suggest that you pick this up. Next book we have is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson, and I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I'm not rounding it up to a 4 because I'll let you know. So this is my first mystery thriller, and it was adult too, so I was like, thank you, Owls, for taking me out of my comfort zone and proving myself wrong that I can actually read mystery thrillers without hating it. I actually really did enjoy it. The reason why I gave it a 3 or a 3.5 out of 5 stars, whatever, we're just gonna stick to a 3, is because I was a little underwhelmed by it. And being my first mystery or thriller, you know, I kind of expected more. out of this book. Now the ending does have, you know, a couple of things that I was like, what? Oh my god. But then other things I was like, is that a stretch? Like, so obviously I'm making sound effects because I can't tell you. It follows Malcolm, aka Mal. That's how I was like, Malcolm, like what? But we call him Mal in the book, and he is a bookshop owner, and a couple of years ago he wrote this list, 8 Perfect Murders, and it wasn't a hit. It wasn't. It was only a couple of views. He moved on until one day the FBI shows up and tells him that there is a serial killer who is using this list to reenact all of these murders, and they want him to help out with the investigation because he did write the 8 Perfect Murders article. Now, I will say that this might be off-putting for a lot of people, but this refers to a lot of old school books or even popular books like The Secret History. What I mean by that is that it will give you the spoiler of the book. Like, we have The Secret History, and I've never read the book. I don't really care about reading it, but it told me how it ends and what happens. So now it's just like there's really no point in me reading it because this book completely like spoiled it. Now there's a couple of other books that are spoiled. There's a couple of films that are spoiled too. So if you are really big on mystery or thrillers, you might want to check out the list for the 8 Perfect Murders so that you don't get spoiled, but it does a lot of spoiling. So that was a little bit off-putting, but again, it was part of the plot, so take it or leave it. But again, I was a little bit underwhelmed. There were some spots where I was like, oh snap, okay, and there was other parts where I'm just like, move it along. So throughout this whole entire thing, I did find out that I quite enjoy reading mystery or thrillers, and maybe I want to get into more of the psychological thrillers. If you have any recommendations, please do comment down below, because now I kind of want to get into mystery or thrillers. Who is she? I don't even know. So yeah. And the final book that I'm going to be talking about is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. This is a YA fantasy, and I don't know if this is going to be a trilogy or a duology, but I know that second cover is out, and when I tell you that I was like, I need it. I do need it. Gladly, I did enjoy the first book, so I'm going to be getting the second book, and it's going to look beautiful in my collection. So again, this is a YA fantasy, and pretty much to sum it up, if you like mermaids, and if you like pirates, and you like the sea, you have to pick this up. Honestly, it was a good time. It was a really good time. So this follows Amora, and in this world, all of the islands are split up and they have different powers now. These people can only have one power, and that is it, because legend says that if you control more than one power, you are going to not be able to handle it, and you're pretty much gonna get cursed and you're gonna die. So Amora, in order to rule her kingdom, she has to pass this test. Now, when she fails this test, they are about to execute her, but she's very important. So they have to really rethink their options. And when Amora meets this guy, he's like, I can help you prove that you are worthy of the kingdom, but you're gonna have to help me get my powers back. So they sail off to the sea, off to this crazy adventure where Amora finds out that things may not be what they seem. So again, this is a YA fantasy, so if you really enjoy YA fantasy, I would suggest that you pick this up, because honestly, I had a good time, and this is my first time reading anything by Adeline Grace, and when I tell you that her action scenes were really good, honestly, they were a great time. Plus, like, mythological characters were in there, plus mermaids. Y'all, you already know I'm about that life. So honestly, she did a fantastic job at writing the fantasy aspects. Obviously, this is definitely not my favorite story, but I will be continuing on, so I'm excited. And I'm double checking my list, making sure the last two are the smutty reads, but we're not gonna read that. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you have any thriller suggestions, leave them down below. And thank you to one of my subscribers for mentioning that I should do a separate graphic novel wrap up so I can focus more on the graphic novel side. Now, I did one for the manga not too long ago, which I talked about Blue Flag, so if you want to see a review for Blue Flag, go ahead and check that video out. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!